So you've been riding for a while, and certain things become, well, commonplace. And for me, you start taking things for granted. And sometimes you start, well, developing bad habits. So I've been getting the comments lately about certain things that I used to do that I'm not doing anymore, and I realized, you know what, I'm starting to develop some dang bad habits. I want to kind of go over some habits that are going to be good for you. First thing that you should do every single time before you get on your bike is do a good solid walk around of the bike. Check your tire pressures, check if you're chain driven, check your chain, make sure you don't have too much play in the chain. If you've added on crash bars, anything like that, make sure they're still taut, make sure that they're not loose, nothing's rattling, because the last thing you really want to do is have one of these babies fall off on the road while you're traveling, right? And going right along with that, of course, is just regular maintenance, making sure that your oil is changed all the time when it needs to be changed, checking your fluid levels. If you're liquid cooled like my engine is right here, making sure that you got plenty of coolant. Start it up. Listen, let it run. This is a cold start. Let it run for a little while before you actually get on. Make sure that you're not hearing any different sounds in the engine that you normally wouldn't hear. Make sure all your lights are working, of course. Turn signals. Run a check on those real quick. And we'll come back to turn signals in a little while because that's a bad habit of mine. And guys, one of the main things that I am guilty of more than anything else as far as safety gear, which you should always wear, is these right here, gloves. If you noticed in my last couple videos on and off, I have not been wearing them. And believe me, you guys are very astute. And you take notice of it. I've had comments like, do you not like your hands? And I don't really have an excuse except for the fact that I'm being lazy. Because if you think about it, what's the first thing if you're going to go down that you're going to probably do is put your hands out, right? It's a natural reaction. And if you put your hands out and you don't have some kind of protection on your hands, well, it's not going to be pretty. Safety gear. Every time, all the time. If you go down on your bike, the more safety gear that you're wearing, the less the severity of the injury. I live to make my insurance company happy. Your add-ons, okay? You want those really kick-butt looking mirrors, like I think I have. You know, you want everything to look stylish and cool as possible. Make sure it's functional. I'm riding down the road on the freeway, or I'm riding down the road at speed, and all of a sudden this thing drops down. That's a problem. Whatever you add onto your bike, number one, is going to be very functional for you. Also make sure it looks cool, of course. That's not functional. If it's not going to serve the real purpose that it was designed for, you probably don't need it on the bike. And here's one that I'm really bad about. That I have to physically, I guess I'm going to have to put a post-it note up here on my windshield. Remember to turn your turn signals off. That can be deadly. You could be riding down the street coming up to an intersection like this. That car there wants to turn. Let's say I have my right turn signal on even though I want to go straight. That car thinks I'm going to turn, can pull right out in front of me. Obeying the speed limit, obeying the rules of the road, that's another thing that we really have to watch. High speed can be dangerous, especially if you're a new rider. I mean, I get it. You got the bike, man, you want to ride it. You want to feel the power. But you also have to respect the laws because there's a reason that that's out there. Never ever ride in anyone's blind spot. Head always on a swivel when you're in heavy traffic. This is rush hour traffic here. And also, when you pull up to a stop like this and you're waiting at your stoplight, Don't put it in neutral and put both your feet down. Leave it in first gear, leave your clutch in, put this leg up on the brake and relax. But this allows you that you're already in gear, so if the car that's behind you suddenly doesn't see you and you see they're going to run into the back of you, you have an escape route. Notice a car coming up quickly behind you and you don't look like they're going to stop and you want to get out of the way. All you got to do is release that clutch and get out of their way. If you're sitting in neutral, your reaction time is going to be slowed slightly, and those seconds that it takes to throw it back into gear can mean everything. Bad habits are something that we just develop. It just happens. We get used to it. We've ridden the same way maybe to work 5,000 times. Never had an issue. We know the road. Pretty soon we're playing with our newfangled gear, our cell phones, even on a motorcycle, instead of doing what we're supposed to be doing, which is paying attention to the road around us. Watch your speed limit. Make sure you're paying attention to the road signs. Make sure you're paying attention to road conditions. Drive accordingly. If you're riding in the rain, make sure you're allowing yourself the time to stop more. Don't get on that throttle so hard. Anyway, just some quick tips, some things I noticed that I wasn't doing. I wasn't really paying attention to the speed limits, and I've always been wearing the gear minus the gloves. So you guys can hold me accountable. You see me next time without gloves, go ahead and tear me up in the comments. I have several different safety videos if you guys want to check them out. If you want to see more about maybe slow speed maneuvering or safety gear, what you can and cannot buy, things like that, feel free to check out this video right here. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day.